Hello, my name is Ramesh Venkataraman. I represent a non-profit in India named Junglescapes Charitable Trust. I'm also a certified ecological restoration practitioner. Junglescapes is a grassroots non-profit engaged in the restoration of degraded forest habitats over the last 17 years. We work in the Western Ghats, a 1,000-mile-long mountain range that runs along the western coast of peninsular India. This is a global biodiversity hotspot and a United Nations World Heritage Site. The project sites are in Bandipur National Park, a protected area and an important tiger and elephant reserve with about 150 tigers and 4,000 elephants in the wild. The project area consists mainly of a tropical dry deciduous forest ecosystem. These are open canopy forest with trees interspersed with grassy patches and having high structural diversity. This is what makes these forests ideal habitats for large herbivores and carnivores. Rainfall levels are typically low at 600 to 800 millimeters per year. There are some areas with rocky substrate where the vegetation is of the tropical thorn forest type. The main degradation driver is high presence of invasive plant species, mainly Lantana camara. Forests closer to human settlements also have anthropogenic pressures from livestock grazing and fuel wood collection, leading to high vegetation loss and exposed soils. Why did we adopt assisted natural regeneration? When we started our restoration efforts in 2008, we adopted the conventional approach of sapling planting. However, after a couple of years, we observed that survival rates of the saplings were less than 20%, and the growth rates of surviving individuals was also poor. This was due to two reasons. Rainfall levels were low, with hardly a few rainy days per annum. Soil degradation was also high, along with high rainwater runoff. Around 60% of the floristic diversity in tropical dry deciduous forest ecosystems is of plant habits other than trees. Saplings of these non-tree plant species were very difficult to procure or raise. This limited our restoration efforts to a few tree species with potentially high negative impact on restoration outcomes. These were the main reasons for shifting to ANR. Our restoration approach from 2010 has been based on ANR, with 80% of the interventions based on ANR principles. We review revival of species after around 3 years of ANR to identify important species gaps and fill these by enrichment introduction. Enrichment is done through nibbling of seeds from the local provenance, as this method is closer to natural recruitment than sapling planting. We also observe that resilience of seedlings recruited in situ is higher and the loss due to herbivory is lower. Our ANR interventions include removal of invasive alien species, restoring soil health, and improving hydrological functions. We also nurture naturally recruited juvenile plants to accelerate revegetation. An important part of the ANR methodology is creating conditions that attract seed dispersing fauna. Let us look at the restoration outcomes so far. We have about 1,200 hectares of forests under restoration across two sites. Plots under restoration for over 6 years show floristic diversity at around 70% of reference. Surveys indicate the presence of 270 plant species across diverse plant habits. Only around 17% of these have been through enrichment efforts, and the remaining 83% have come up naturally. Compared to baseline, there is a 2.5 to 3 times increase in species richness across plant habits. The frequency of occurrence of species, which is an indicator of the relative abundance, also mirrors reference plant communities. Good return of fauna is observed in all mature restoration plots with the presence of important representative fauna. As we are restoring wildlife habitats, the return of fauna is an important proxy indicator of restoration progression. These are some images of restored woody forest areas which had been degraded due to a mix of colonization by invasives, and anthropogenic pressures. These are some images of restored grassy patches which had faced degradation due to high presence of invasive plant species. What have been the challenges in implementing ANR? The main challenge we faced was in convincing key stakeholders like sponsors and forest managers who give us the restoration permissions about the suitability of the ANR approach. These stakeholders were more familiar with tree planting methods compared to ANR. We overcame this challenge by carrying out pilot projects in smaller plots to demonstrate results. Sustained awareness creation efforts were done along with field visits. These helped in gaining acceptance for ANR. Let us look at the conditions favoring ANR at our project sites. Research shows that dormant subsoil seed banks in dry and semi-arid regions remain viable for long periods of time. This has helped in the revival of a large number of pioneer species. The presence of long-range seed dispersal agents like large herbivores and long-range birds has played an important role in the revival of many successional species. Around 100 indigenous community members participate actively in our restoration projects. They have excellent knowledge of the local topography, soil types, watersheds, microclimatic conditions, animal plant interactions, etc. This knowledge has helped significantly in the planning of ANR interventions. What are the key learnings from our ANR methodology experience? Project pilots play a key role in assessing ANR potential of a site. Indigenous and traditional ecological knowledge strengthen the process of ANR project planning. Observing species revival through ANR for around 3 years can help make correct enrichment decisions and optimize the overall restoration effort. Scenarios where ANR potential is good generally have a higher cost-benefit ratio compared to introduction. This facilitates taking up larger areas for restoration and scaling up restoration to a landscape level. The longer restoration timelines required under ANR are generally offset by lower cost and higher resilience. Creating conditions for the return of fauna has a multiplier effect that accelerates natural revival. Thank you very much.